are you finding it more difficult to get started, to get going, to get excited, to get inspired, to get motivated? Recently, I've had quite a few people say to me, I don't know why, I just don't have the energy that I used to have, or my goals just don't get me as fired up as it used to, and I'm having a hard time dealing with these people, or I'm having a hard time dealing with these circumstances or this situation, and I just don't know how to get myself back on track. I just don't know how to get fired up. I don't know how to get going like I used to be able to. And if you've had that experience at all, and I've had that experience myself, so that's why I'm pointing to it, is that I can relate to having that experience of feeling a little sluggish, not quite as motivated, like how do I get going? Like what's in the way? It used to be easier. And it's easy to just chalk it up to, well, I was younger then, and more easily excitable or whatever and all that. And today I'm going to talk to you exactly about this particular issue because so many people have been bringing it up. And what I found is that it was the same issue, the same thing at the bottom of what they were dealing with in every case. And there's a solution for it. There's something you can do about it. And I'll talk to you about that today, exactly what there is that you can do that will shift this energy, this situation that you're describing if you're dealing with it. But also, it's kind of like just a tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. There's so much more to what's going on than just this one piece. But this one piece will absolutely make a difference. I'll explain how that works and why it works and what you can do about it and exactly where to start. So let's begin by looking at what is it actually that's going on. You wake up, you see, maybe you hit the snooze on the alarm. That's a bad first move. But, whatever it is, you wake up, you don't feel great, you're not excited, it's another day. And, for all intents and purposes, it's probably going to be a little bit like yesterday. Like the days kind of don't have a lot of new, different, exciting opportunities as much as you'd like them to, maybe. So you wake up and you feel a little bit less motivated or a little sluggish, or it's just a little harder to get going. And then, of course, people, right, because the world's full of them, they have comments, and a lot of their comments aren't positive. They're not complimenting you. They're not encouraging you. They're not inspiring you. So now you're dealing with people, plus whatever it is that you've got that you're already dealing with, right? So what's actually going on there? What's actually having it feel like it's harder than it used to be, if that's the case? Well, let's look at it. You know that your mind, the voice, the one that's asking what voice, that voice. So your mind has an impeccable memory. It remembers everything that's ever happened. It remembers what you've done, what you said, where you went, what you thought, what you felt. It remembers all of that. And it uses that against you, right? Every time you think of a great new idea, your mind comes up with why it's not such a good idea, doesn't it? And it tries to talk you out of the thing that you just thought of. And you might think, well, why does it do that? It's really simple. Your mind has one job. It's to protect you. It's to keep you from getting killed by doing something stupid, like walking in front of a truck or trying to fly off a building or whatever else that you might think is a great idea. So your mind's job is to protect you from danger. And unfortunately, it only has one game plan. It only has one strategy for protecting you from danger, and that is find something scary and scare you with it. So every time you have an idea of what is going to happen, or what you want to have happen, or what you want to do, your mind immediately comes up with why that's probably a bad idea, how it could be scary, and why you should rethink that and maybe not go there just now. And you should come up with a better strategy before you get into action. Isn't that kind of what it does most of the time? Like always, right? So your mind has been doing this your whole life. And you know that it has been doing this your whole life. So you know that it's going to continue doing this. You know it. It's going to happen. We all know it. The mind is going to continue attempting to talk you out of all of your bright ideas. Add to that the fact that as you and I continue to live on this planet, doing this thing that we call our life, we continue to accumulate experiences. And the mind always finds the ones that it doesn't like to use as evidence against us for why we shouldn't pursue our dreams, right? So now you have this machinery that's committed to talking you out of doing things. And every single day, it's accumulating more evidence for why you shouldn't try things. It has more reasons for what could go wrong and why it won't work and how bad it's going to feel if you don't win and all of that stuff. So you take those two things. Number one, it reliably talks you out of things you want. Number two, every day is gathering more evidence for why it probably won't work and why you shouldn't try. You combine those two things together, and naturally, you begin to realize the odds are against me. Like, this machine is powerful. It's been doing this my whole life, and it's getting stronger every day. And I'm either the same as I was, or maybe because I'm older, then maybe I'm weaker, right? So this creates an attitude. It creates a little bit of an anxiety. It makes it harder to confront the mind. It makes it harder to use your willpower to overcome the obstacles. It makes it more difficult. It's more challenging because you can feel like you've been defeated before you even started fighting. I know a lot of people have been sharing that with me, but that's the experience they have. It's like, I wake up and I already know it's not going to work. Like, yeah, I hear you. I've been there. I've experienced it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's a pretty normal circumstance, pretty normal situation to be in. However, you're not stuck with it. There is something you can do about it. And here's the key to everything. The thing to recognize is this. Up until now, for the most part, the mind has been doing what it's doing completely unopposed, which means that you might be overpowering in a moment or two with willpower, but there isn't any automatic, ongoing opposition to the mind's consistent, reoccurring negativity. What you might notice is that if the mind is predicting the future, which it will tell you that it is, although none of us actually can. But if it was actually predicting the future, then about half the time, it should be a positive prediction, right? About half the time. But that's not the case. Your mind always predicts a negative outcome. It always predicts some disaster. It always predicts things are going to go badly, and you're going to have a plan, and you have to come up with a strategy, and you've got to figure out how you're going to make it work your way, right? It's pretty challenging. But what I'm really pointing to is this. There hasn't been in your life up until now an automatic counter to that negativity. There hasn't been something to say, nope, we're winning. Nope, it's not going to be that way. It's going to be like this. That hasn't really existed. See, what I'm talking about is you can create that. Now, you're not going to do it in a day because it takes some time, but you can do it. And here's how you do it. Every night before you go to sleep, you write down 3 things. You write down 3 things that you accomplished today. I got my laundry done. I put gas in the car. We mowed the lawn. I helped my kids with their homework. Whatever it is, something that you got done today that was an accomplishment. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be, significant. It just has to be something that you did. So, 3 things you got done today. Then you write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And again, it doesn't matter what they are. It just matters that you actually experience gratitude. Now, I live in Hawaii, so for me, it's really easy. I look outside and go, yes, I'm glad I'm here, right? But it could be anything. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my income. I'm grateful my car isn't broken, whatever. Anything you're grateful for. So 3 things you accomplished, 3 things you're grateful for, and then the third one, 3 things that you want. Now, why is this important? Because anything that you want, by definition, is something that you don't have. And I promise you, everything that you don't have, your mind has really good reasons for why you don't have it yet, and probably why you won't get it in the future, because that's what the mind always does. So 3 things you've accomplished, 3 things you're grateful for, and 3 things you want. Now, it's really important that you do this at night just before you sleep, because the last thing you put your attention on before you go to sleep, your subconscious mind will be working on that while you're sleeping. That's a physiological thing. It's how it works. It's that your subconscious mind will work on it and your conscious mind is sleeping that gives you the advantage, because the 3 things that you've accomplished, the thing that we were missing as children, most of us, to a large degree, was acknowledgement. The people that we wanted to acknowledge us were mostly criticizing us or guiding us or directing us or whatever, but mostly it wasn't them acknowledging us. For most people, I'm not saying it's true for everybody, but for most people, we were not getting the acknowledgement that we wanted. And I promise you, even if those people acknowledged you today, it wouldn't give you the satisfaction that you want in your heart if you had had that acknowledgement when you were 5 or 6. Just saying. So no amount of acknowledgement today from anybody is going to make up for the acknowledgement that you wish you got that you never got. However, what you can do is you can begin acknowledging yourself. And when you do it right before you go to sleep, again, the conscious mind doesn't have enough energy to object to it, so it's more likely to be accepted by your subconscious. Oh yeah, I got that done today. Yeah, I got something done. Okay. So then gratitude, the 3 things that you're grateful for. Why is that important? Because the dial tone of the universe is gratitude. Now, if you're not old enough to know what a dial tone is, God bless you. Some of us are. The fact of the matter is, if you want the universe to pay attention and listen to you, you've got to be at a frequency that the universe is going to interact with and respond to. Now, the truth is it responds to all the frequencies you're ever at all the time, unconditionally, but we're not going down that rabbit hole right now. But if you're operating at a frequency of gratitude, then whatever you're talking about, whatever your attention is on, while you're in that state of unconditional acceptance, the universe is bringing that to you. It's like, oh, you want more of that? Okay, no problem. We got plenty over here, right? So that's why the next thing is you write 3 things that you want. Because again, your conscious mind isn't awake or it's about to go to sleep, so it's not really empowered to object and criticize and deny you the things that you want. So while you're sleeping, your subconscious mind is kind of sorting through the cosmic Amazon, as it were, going, oh yeah, one of those, one of those, one of those. And of course, your subconscious mind has access to the infinite consciousness. And so it knows where everything is. And it brings those things to your attention. So right before you go to sleep, you have the ability to input this into your subconscious mind and let it work on these things while you're sleeping. Now, again, this is not going to change your life overnight. This takes, in my experience with my clients, somewhere between a week, maybe 10 days, before you start to actually see new results in your waking day-to-day moments where this is impacting you. However, I promise you this, 2 things. Number 1, if you do this consistently, you will get results. Number 2, your mind will attempt to talk you out of this. Your mind will say, Ah, we did great today. I don't need to write anything down tonight. You feel fine. Just go to sleep. You'll be all right. See, because your mind does not want you to be in charge. The mind likes being in charge of you. And in case you think it isn't, just notice that you can't make it shut up. So it's in charge. But the point I'm really making is this: the mind will try to sabotage every effort that you bring to accomplish being in charge of your life, because it likes being the last word. It likes being the one that can influence you. It likes being the one that can distract you and all those things. Okay. So it's going to do everything it can to interfere with you doing this on a daily basis. And my clients who do this daily, and I have some that do, are experiencing phenomenal breakthroughs. Like just unbelievable new things are happening in their life that weren't going to happen anyway. And then there's a whole bunch of people, clients of mine as well, who tell me why they didn't write something down tonight or last night or the night before, or why it's been a week since they wrote anything or whatever it might be. And all of that's fine. But what I know is this: your conscious mind loves to be in charge. And so it's going to interrupt you. It's going to distract you. It's going to come up with things that are more important. It's going to say, no, I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. It'll have all these excuses. However, if you can do this very simple exercise, pen and paper, makes a big difference, by the way, pen and paper versus taking notes on a computer or a phone. Pen and paper, write down 3 things that you got done today. Write down 3 things that you are grateful for right now, and write down 3 things that you want. You do that right before you go to sleep, and then you go to sleep. And what will happen if you do that is a whole bunch of new behaviors and new thoughts will start occurring to you in your daily waking state. One of them is this. One of my clients just shared this with me last week. Here's what he said. He said, I notice that now when I'm going through my day and I'm dealing with people or I'm dealing with situations, I'll see something and I'll go, oh, I'm going to write that down tonight. You see, because he's created that behavior for himself that he's going to write something tonight. So his mind is actually looking for the things that he's going to write. You got that? So every time that he's looking for something that he's going to write about what he accomplished, what he's grateful for, and what he wants, that moment, his attention is going to those things versus going to the negativity that the mind wants to look at. So he's interrupting the ongoing environment of his everyday because he's doing this every night. Now, I've said this so many times before, and I'm going to say it again. Ignorance is innocent. You can't blame anyone for what they don't know, right? You can't accuse somebody of doing something wrong if they had no knowledge that what they're doing is wrong or that it doesn't work, right? Including yourself. However, just a little bit of knowledge is all it takes to make you really dangerous. So even though this method that I've just shared with you is really powerful, and even though it absolutely works, it's still just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more about what's going on internally for you that really makes a huge difference in your daily experience and the results that you create. And people who work with me uncover these things really powerfully. My clients develop 3 massive skills in their life working with me. Number 1 is peace. That means you're quieting down the noise that's happening here. Number 2 is power, which means that there's a shorter distance in time between when you say something's going to happen and when it actually happens. And number 3 is freedom. And freedom is such a big conversation, I'm not even going to point at it right now. We'll have to talk about it later. But here's what you can do. Somewhere around here, I think there's a link down there. You can click on it. You can book an appointment with me. The appointments are free, cost nothing. We'll go have a strategy session. We'll talk about what you're dealing with, what you're struggling with, what the issues are in your life, whether it's relationships, money, your job, your kids, it doesn't matter. And I promise you, at the end of the first conversation that we have, you'll walk away with something that you can use right away, right now. It's going to make a difference right now. And you might discover that what you want to do is work with me and get down deep into what's going on and redesign your life. Anyway, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Aloha. See you next time.